my name is Heidi Swanson. I am a homeschool mom of 4 here in Anchorage, Alaska, and I just wanted to make a video to explain how we've been homeschooling our children independently for the past 5 years here in Alaska, kind of what our law here in the state is, and then walk through how I plan for each school year and what the day typically looks like. I love homeschooling, and I love it so much that I spend hundreds of hours volunteering every year to put on a statewide convention. If you've never heard of that before, it's called the Affia Homeschool Convention, and it is through a private nonprofit, and so we are here to encourage homeschoolers, no matter how that's working for your family, throughout the state. And so, like I said, I love homeschooling. I was homeschooled, and so is my husband. And so when we had kids, there was no other option. We just knew we were going to homeschool, and so I kind of developed the way we do things over the years as more children got added to the mix. And so now with 4, I have kind of a routine I run through, and so I wanted to dive into that. But first of all, independent homeschooling. What does that mean? So in Alaska, we have a state statute that basically says the parent can direct the education of the child. So if you are a parent or guardian of a child, under the state law, you can direct the education of your child without any government involvement, without having to do any standardized testing. You don't need to submit enrollment to your school district. You can educate your children on your own, and that's it. It's very simple. If you want to see that statute specifically, you can go to www.aphea.org. That is our organization website, and we have the law listed there. You can look it up, you can Google it. So we are so thankful for the freedom we have here in Alaska, and have, like I say, been homeschooling using that provision for the past 5 years. A couple additional benefits of that is that at any time during the school year, if we choose to change our curriculum, if we choose to maybe pause on something, we're not having to get approval from anyone. We can just do that and really help our children go at the pace that they need to. That being said, I love homeschooling, and I want to just see the families who are maybe diving into this for the first time to see that they're educated, that they know what their options are, and that they feel supported, and that they can have a successful school year with their children. So no matter how many kids you have, you can do this, you can homeschool, and if independent homeschooling is appealing to you, you can do that too. I'm here to help, I'm here to support you, so please reach out and ask questions as they come up. So that being said, I'm just going to dive into how we do our homeschooling. So at the beginning of the school year, I will make a list of all the books that I want the children to go through depending on their age. So this is last year's plan, and Clark was going into 3rd grade, and so I had the math books, the writing, reading, and then the extracurricular stuff we were doing on top of that, all listed out. And that would help me as we were going through the year. It got really busy. We ended up moving, selling our house. It was a really crazy year. But I could look back on this, and I could see what my plan was, and then make sure that we're sticking to that and making progress. I typically get a coupon from our curriculum publisher every spring, and so that gives me an incentive to go ahead and sit down, figure out what we're going to need for the next school year, and place that order to take advantage of that discount. So again, we buy the books for our children and then make that plan and then just carry it out. So it's super simple. And that's one of the things I love about independent homeschooling. I am a person who does like to be organized, so you know, it works really well for me, and I love being I love having the flexibility to bring in some of the children's interests. If they like a specific character like Curious George, I've bought some of these on Amazon. Super fun for the kids. They have a story that they go through, and then just some seat work to reinforce skills. So the 100% customization really works well for me. Okay, so make the plan, and then I figure out where does the child need to go next with where they're learning. So if it's cool with you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start kind of from that birth to 5 years old, where they start kindergarten, kind of run through what I do for that, and then go from there. So I have have, like I said, 4 kids. They are 3, 5, 7, and 9. So this next year we will have a preschooler, kindergartner, 2nd grader, and 4th grader. So for the preschooler, what she does is I will buy a little book for her because she loves to be treated like the big kids. This is a great one. This one's $5 on Amazon right now, actually, so very affordable. And she will do a couple pages of that at the table with everyone, and then she likes to play with her little counting cars and planes and stuff. She'll separate them into different colors and count them, and so that's her thing. And then we'll go through the alphabet, and so I've got fun little flashcards. I've got several different types, and these are 99 cents at Target. So those are pretty practical for the element or the preschool age. And then this year I'm kind of upgrading her because I need to teach her how to go through a book section by section. In the past she's been allowed to just scribble in the book because honestly at that point I really just want to see her love learning and keep her busy while I'm trying to work with the other older kids on their seat work. So she is going to use the official preschool books from our curriculum vendor this year. So she's got her little letters and sounds and her number skills with Button Bear. So I know she's looking forward to that, and I can, like I say, help her learn how to go through a book starting from the beginning and getting to the end. So it's going to be really good. I should probably rewind a little bit and talk about how we get our day started. So we are Christian, and so what I love to start the day off with is devotions. So our goal is to get the school day started by 8:39, depending on what's going on in the morning. During this past spring, Daddy was working from home, and so the day started a little later than it usually would have for that spring semester. But the goal usually is to go ahead and get started by around 8:30, just so we have enough time to get through everything before kids start getting tired and needing naps. So we'll get breakfast ready, everybody will sit down, and I will go ahead and begin with devotions. This past year we used just an easy kids devotional Bible, and I would read the chapter that corresponded with the lesson from the Bible, and then we'd go through that story, and that kind of just helped us walk through the Bible. The kids really loved the illustrations. This year I'm going to be using a couple new books. So this one is, I thought would be fun, Growing Up Where Jesus Lived. And then one of the Abeka, which our curriculum vendor or publisher is called Abeka, and like I said, it is faith-based, so it's a Christian curriculum, and they have a Bible curriculum that look really cool for K-5. And I thought starting at the K-5 would keep it simple enough in concept for the younger kids to understand, and I can always ask extra questions for the older kids to keep them engaged. So I think I was having too much fun going through the catalog. But these looked really cool, so everybody's going to have their own little activity book, and we're going to go through those during that first, the Bible time in our school day. And then after that, I will move into either health, history, or science. And we kind of walk through those. We'll just focus on one book at a time until we finish it, and then move on to the next one. Something like that. So here is our health book, and so we would start with this, and I typically just read one section per day and then ask questions at the end. They typically have a little question section that will give you some ideas of to check the kids' comprehension, and so I'll go around the table and ask each child a question, and honestly the 3-year-old can typically answer the question. So I have maybe unique kids, and that they're great at paying attention. I'm very thankful for that, but they can typically listen to that whole section no problem and be able to answer those questions. And so then I to keep track, just so that I have records for myself and I can kind of predict how much material we can get through in the school year. I'll start a little 3x5 card with the name of the book we're going through, which school year, so I can tell as we rotate through everything, when did we last go through this curriculum. And so I'll just write the date of when we did that chapter or went through that book. And so I can see here it took about 7 weeks to get through the health book last year. And so yeah, like I said, we'll just do one of those at a time. So we'll do health, and then we'll do the science book, and that'll take another 7 to 12 weeks. This is the teacher edition, so it has all of the questions in it, as well as the answers in case I couldn't find whatever it was that we'd read over. So because I'm reading it, I'm not really worried about the answers being in the book. We're doing read aloud, oral teaching for this, and that really helps the younger ones who can't quite read. They can still understand those concepts, and we can go through everything together. So we're doing 3rd grade science this year, and like I said, the kids, you know, I do have a 4th grader, but we're doing 3rd grade this year, so he will do that with us. And you know, until he gets probably 5th or 6th grade, we might change the style to where he's doing one grade level of science, and I'm doing, you know, another one with the little kids. But for now, this was working really well last year, and so I'm not gonna fix what's not broken. So then we'll get through that, and then we got our history book. And I found, going through like free stuff people had given us, a couple other like American history books, so we'll use those as supplements and answer more questions and just kind of dig in a little deeper as time provides. And then I have like a couple other options if we run out of material for the rest of the school year. We can learn about the post office, another freebie I picked up somewhere. And then I bought this book about children all over the world, and I thought that would be really fun to learn a little bit of geography towards the end of the school year. Last year, I had one child, Dean. He is 5 and he was 4 last year. He really wanted to learn about animals, and so my mother-in-law had given us this book. She was cleaning out her bookshelf, and it was just like, I think there's about 100 different animals in here, and so we'd just go over one a day. There were 4 questions at the end of each page, and so that was kind of our biology for last school year, and they really enjoyed learning about those animals. We'll probably go through that book again, but it was a great book. So that is how we start the morning. So that whole, between the Bible and then doing the you know, the history, the science, the health, and then if we decide to do like another book like this, that will typically take about 45 minutes. And so by that time, the children are done eating their oatmeal or whatever it is they're having for breakfast, and we can go ahead and start doing seat work. So what I do, what typically works, is I will set a 20-minute timer, and I will work with one student to get through all of the instruction that they need, the reading lesson, the math if they're getting kind of hung up on a section or they need some just further support. I will work with them for 20 minutes and then switch to the next kid after that. That gives my other kids an opportunity to do some of their independent work, like their penmanship. The older one can definitely do his math by himself, and I can kind of let them solve their own problems for 20 minutes and then answer some questions before moving on to the next child. So for the preschooler, back to her. So if she's already done doing her independent work, if you know, I honestly, it's kind of who needs to have mommy first is how I structure it. Some days, yeah, I need to go through the little one first because she's just hyper and she needs attention, which is fine. And so for her, we'll sometimes sit down and just do reading for 10 minutes. And she loves, there's like a Dr. Seuss dictionary that she fell in love with last year. We read through that for a while. She loves the Richard Scarry book, and it's got really fun pictures and just, you know, just kind of giving her a love of learning. And like I say, that one-on-one time is really important. So then for the kindergartner, once we get to kindergarten, you know, depending on when your child's birth date is, or you know what they've been doing for school so far, if you know that they can read, okay, you know, that's good. Let's just go ahead and start getting reading comprehension and reading proficiency increased in that. If they can't read, well then you're going to need to pick a curriculum to go ahead and get started. We've used a few different ones. My favorites are the Abeka reading curriculum, and so you'd be starting with what we call the Blueback Speller back when I was in school. They now call it a handbook for reading. And so it goes through their Phonics Charts and gives the student an opportunity to practice the phonics rules that they've learned. The Phonics Charts look like this. We laminated them so that they would last. But they, for the little gal, Marcy, she's 3, she actually has learned this whole chart front and back. Daddy helped her go through that during COVID, and that was their bonding thing that they did together. But by the time they get through all 18 of these charts, they are able to read large words like this. And so just practicing one chart a day really helps solidify phonics. And phonics is the foundation. So once your student is able to read words phonetically, they can pretty much sound out anything. So that's a great reading material, curriculum. A lot of parents love that. Another one we've used is the Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. This book, love this book. And so as a new homeschooling mom with my first, I felt intimidated, I'll be honest, starting with this book and the Phonics Charts. I wasn't really sure how the concept was going to play out. How was he going to be able to read, big words by the time we were done with those charts? I've learned now how it works, and so it works. But this was a great book, and so if you want to try it out, I bought this one on eBay, I think for $10. But it goes through and uses, forgot the specific name, but there's a specific way that they write the letters, and so the child gets used to seeing it that way. And I'm going to an example here where they have like the SH sound. Okay, so you can see here like the TH is together, and that just helps them learn that sound, and then they can use it in a sentence. The really cool thing about this curriculum is at the end of every lesson you get to read a story, and so the kids love that because they can kind of be rewarded for the work that they've done in that lesson. And then there's a couple of comprehension questions, and the stories are always super funny, so they love that. Okay, so kindergarten. I know I need to move through this quickly so I can get through everything and not take up too much of your time. But so that's kind of kindergarten. For the other book work for this year, Dean is using this K-5th Think and Learn. He did the kindergarten math book last year, and I wanted to not push him too hard. He is a January baby, and so he is 5.5 actually, and so he's ready to kind of be looking at first grade stuff. And so we are going to get through this probably by November, December. He's going to be ready to start on his first grade math. So went ahead and bought that book. If he doesn't make it there that quickly, no big deal. We are making our own plan, and we can go at whatever pace he needs, but we have that in the wings ready to roll. And then also for him, he's going to do phonics, letters and sounds. He is learning to read. He's about 40 or 50 lessons into that Teach Your Child to Read in 100 lessons, and that's been working really well for him. And so we're going to just finish that out, and then once he's ready, we'll move more into the phonics, backing that up and kind of solidifying that, and then also cursive writing. And so this will further solidify his cursive skills. I'm doing cursive with the kids first, mostly because of the letter form. It's easier for them to remember B's versus D's and the G's and the Q's and all of that through cursive because it's so unique, and it really just solidifies that sound. So we have the manuscript books we're going to go through next. Okay, so kindergarten. All right, so then I have the second grader. She has had to take a little bit more time in learning how to read. She has just a different learning style, and so we're going at her pace, but we are drilling the phonics charts very consistently to get her kind of up to speed. Another thing about independent homeschooling is that I, as the mother, can slow things down if the child isn't quite ready to be maybe at their grade level for something like reading. And then once she gets it and it clicks, we can start to accelerate and bring her back up to the grade level norm. So I have every confidence she's gonna get there. It's just taking a little bit more time. So I have to be okay with that. She's brilliant when it comes to things like art. She gets math. Math is not a problem for her. This is just an area where she struggles. So then she is very good at penmanship, so she'll do her penmanship. She has language. And she's doing language 1 this next year. Again, because of the reading and how it's taking a little bit more time, we've had to slow things down. But probably by next summer, she'll be ready to go ahead and start on the 2nd grade material, and maybe just work a couple pages a week through the summer and be ready to roll on track. And then we're going to do some spelling. And the spelling with Rebecca is really cool because they reinforce the phonics. So you'll see at the top of the lesson, they have the phonics sound, and then those are incorporated in the spelling words. And then math. Okay, so that's 2nd grade. For the 4th grader, we hadn't done any of these reading comprehension skill sheets. I saw them in the catalog. They looked great for just making sure he can read stories and really get all of the main content out of a story, walk away with the key concepts. And so this just has you reading a little story and then go through and fill out the page on the back. So we're going to do the 2nd grade one, we're going to do the 3rd grade one, and get him back up to par. And then he also has spelling, and he is doing the God's Gift of Language A. So this will be a little bit more challenging for him. Lots of writing, but he's kind of more of a perfectionist like his parents, and he's been doing great, just trying to get his penmanship legible and smooth, and he's been doing great with that. So then he'll also have writing with a purpose. So heavy emphasis on writing for him this year, to emphasize that ease of creating sentences, using good grammar, and so we'll just keep focusing on that. And then he has his math book, which he actually already started on because he finished the 3rd grade one and needed to keep going, so he didn't forget how to do division. We moved this summer, and he took about 3 or 4 weeks off, and then we opened the book back up and was like, division, how does this work again? So we're able to go through that, and sometimes we do a little school over the summer, sometimes it's hit and miss, but you know, honestly, 45 minutes in the morning can really make a big difference to keep them on track and make the next school year a lot more smooth, get started more smoothly. Anyway, and so then he has readers that he's going to do 6 of them. Our goal is to typically get through 1 reader a month, and so after the younger kids go down for a nap after lunch, he and I will sit down and go through his reader and just make sure he's reading things correctly, that he can read aloud fluidly. So that's kind of our one-on-one time we'll spend together. Because honestly, once they get to about 2nd, 3rd grade, they need help with both the seat work and the reading. And so just like I say, that 20-minute span in the morning doesn't quite get us through everything he needs. So we'll just go back and kind of make sure he's getting through everything and is making sense. Okay, so we did breakfast, we've done our 20-minute rotations, and that pretty much means that within an hour and a half after finishing that morning breakfast, we're now ready for lunch. And so everyone is kind of through their main subjects. If we get done early, like say we get done at 11, then last year we were tuning into the zoo most days and enjoying the presentations they were doing with the animals, or we will do maybe a YouTube video on a science thing that we want to deep dive into, or maybe we need to run an errand, whatever. We can take a break, and so we'll take a break, and then at lunch we've been doing our literature during lunch, and again, read aloud. There is a gal out there, Sarah McKenzie, and she has kind of a program called Read Aloud Revival, and I didn't appreciate the importance of reading aloud until kind of looking into that and understanding just how amazing that is to learn with your kids and help them understand character concepts and really just give them that love of learning. Reading is so important. So honestly, if there's anything you can do to help yourself as a homeschooling mom, is to get solid reading skills reinforced, and that will make everything easier. So when we're doing lunch, I guess this is just the way our family works, but when the kids are eating, they are very easily able to pay attention to me and what I'm reading to them. And so we just kind of use that as a great use of the time. So last year we started reading the Lamplader books. Lamplader is a publisher that has been doing a lot of, been publishing old books, like this one's from 1856 and 1872, so they're super old books, but they are amazing. They have amazing caricature, just, you know, for, okay, example, The Giant Killer. The Giant Killer went through some of the 7 deadly sins, but just different caricature things that we need to be aware of as we are learning how to love others, how to rein in pride and self-control, you know, have self-control. And so the stories are engaging, the kids love it, and we'll typically just read one chapter. Sometimes we don't get all the way through before everybody's done and ready to go do something. But that's typically the goals. We'll try to get through a chapter during lunch. That takes about 15-20 minutes. And then after lunch, my younger 3 take a nap, and I can work with the older one. But our school day is typically done by around 2 to 2:30. And then we can go about our day, work on chores, whatever else needs to be done. But yeah, that is how we independently homeschool. The cost, how much does all this cost? It's not that expensive. So for the whole pile of workbooks that we needed for this year, all the spelling books, the writing, the reading comprehension, for all 4 kids, it was $300 for the whole school year. I find that to be pretty affordable. Our family values the faith-based curriculum, and so we love this, Becca, and so I find that it's worth it, and we'll just work that into our family budget. We have an Alaska Club membership. We have done swimming lessons in the past, piano lessons. So any of those things we want to incorporate into our homeschool, we just pay for them. My husband and I love that flexibility, and we can start and stop at any time. And yeah, so I think that's all I need to share today. And if you have any questions, please reach out. And please know that there is a huge network of support out there for all homeschoolers and for homeschooling independently. There are Facebook groups, there's our organization, and then ask around. You'd be surprised. Hope you guys have a great school year, and best wishes. Bye.